Hey Clashers, sneak peek number 1 for the March update, and this means we're going to talk about new building level, we're going to talk about new troop, and as well new spell level, and on top of that, we're going to get a completely new pet in the game, we will discuss as well in this video. On top of that, we're going to get a new feature at the end of March, where the training time is going to be removed in Clash of Clans. But don't worry, it will not drop with the update itself. It will take some time for Supercell to collect cloned bases to make sure that you don't have to wait for too long for your attacks. But just so you're aware, it's not going to drop right away with the update. Let's get things started with a new building level. The monolith is going to get a new level. Yep, that's going to be quite scary. A couple of bonus DPS points, but 1 more % when it comes down to the damage which it can deal to other troops, and especially tanky troops. Well, we'll get it hit quite hard. On top of that, it's going to receive as well the supercharges, with the first one being damage and the second one being hit points. The percentage damage is not increased though with the additional supercharges. That is important to note here. The next one then as well is going to be the Inferno Towers. And this thing is going to be scary because take a look at those stats. The single Inferno Tower, yeah, not really many are using it, but the multi-Inferno Tower, every single beam plus 20 damage. That is a lot. That is a lot of damage with 1 bonus level, and that will make a crazy big difference, especially if you put them in rage towers. As always, 2 new supercharge level as well, and those Inferno Towers will be really scary, trust me. But, as always, the first supercharge being even more damage, and the second one being more hit points. Another level which we are going to get are the builder huts, and especially the builder repair time, or the repair speed, is going to be a big one, because it means that it's indirect, it's a nerf for Royal Champion charges, because this means some of those buildings might be repaired up, which takes the Royal Champion longer to actually take it out. Otherwise, overall, great design. For me, my favorite is for sure that Inferno Tower, but another defense is getting the supercharges on top, and that is the merged gear tower, the multi-gear tower, which means we're going to get the 2 supercharges for DPS and for hit points, since we have only gotten the first 2 level in the February update. But that's pretty much it with the defensive side. At this point, let's get some new level for the offense. The first one is the army camp. I know people will now freak out and say, iTzu, that is going to be so unbalanced, the game is going to be way too easy, but based on what I have tested, in the end, this update, I think, will make the game harder. And this is as well connected to what type of troops are getting new level, because none of the current meta troops is really getting a new level. And 20 housing space, let's be honest, there's like 1 root rider. That won't do much. The core of your army right now is always the heroes, and plus 20 DP, like plus 20 housing space is not really that big of a deal. We're going to get a new pet. We'll talk about it in just a second. We're going to get a new dog barracks. We'll talk about that with a sneak peek in the future. But we're going to get as well a new level, which we'll take a look at just a second. But before that, a quick reminder from my side. If you want to progress faster through the update and thinking about buying any offers from the shop, or for example, the Gold Pass, make sure that you're supporting your favorite content creator out there. If you want to support me and the channel, make sure to use creator code iTzu. I really appreciate that. But let's move on to the new level, and we're starting things off with the Yetis. Yeti's getting a new level with this update, which is really appreciated, obviously making Yeti blimps a little bit stronger, and the Yeti mice getting some nice bonus stats as well. Overall, a nice thing. They're not going to make them broken or anything, just a little bit stronger, because why not? They were not used as much, so it's nice to have. The next thing is going to be the Golem. I think mostly used by the competitive community, where it's combined with like hero dives, but as well in smash attacks, it can be quite nice to have them as a tank in front of your troops. The Golemites as well get some nice love, but overall the design, I like it quite a bit. It's fitting the Town of 17 style a lot. But let's move on, the Ice Golem. Important note here is that this Ice Golem level is mostly affecting the offense, which means on the defense, if you have it in your clan castle, Ice Golems are restricted anyways, which means there's a couple of troops which are too strong on the defensive side, and there's, for example, the Lava Hound, which is spawning less pups, or for example, the Ice Golem, which is freezing for way less, which means the defensive side is not really going to be affected, and it's pretty much staying the same. Next one though, the troop which I'm most excited about is the Hog Rider. But to be more specific, whenever a troop is getting a new level, the super version gets a new level as well. And I am a huge fan of the Super Hog Riders right now, and they're receiving some love for sure. So I'm really looking forward to use them more often in the future. We have 50 hit points more on the Super Hawks and as well on the Super Riders, and the bonus stats as well for the Super Hawk Rider itself. So overall, a massive buff for whoever likes to run a strategy around the Super Hawk Riders, and I really look forward to see them more often, hopefully in the future. Even though, don't get fooled, the new multi-planetary level is countering them quite a bit, so you always have to be careful with using them, and maybe don't be too excited. Another thing which is getting new level, which is like, whatever, it's the bad spell. I'm looking forward to if someone's coming up with a new bad spell strategy, but only one additional bad is not going to make or break it. Next one is that we're going to have next 75 new wall level. It doesn't mean that we're getting 75 walls. It means that 75 of the existing walls you can now upgrade to the max level on top of the ones which you already could. Next one, the Unicorn Tower level 17 is going to get additional 5 levels. Just the healing and the hit points are going to be increased, but that should give this pet a little bit more love again to make sure that you are adding it to your army and to your heroes back, because currently Frosty is used more on the Archer Queen and most of the attacks in the meta at the moment. But overall, quite some hit points, like 325 more hit points and overall 5 more healing per second. Hopefully brings the Unicorn back into the meta and as well makes sure that it's getting used more often. But let's talk about the new pet, right? The new patch, I love it. It's like a badge which is sick. And I mean that quite literally because it is snoozing a lot, okay? So let's just take a look at how exactly it works. So first off, this is like a pet which is attaching to a hero and is not doing anything attacking wise. It's not attacking whatsoever. It only attacks when your hero is taken care of. But the main ability of this pet is that every 10 seconds you're going to spawn a tank or overall an additional troop. This troop is having quite some hit points because overall it has 2000 hit points and 150 DPS on the highest level, which is not too crazy, but it's not too bad either. This is like every 10 seconds 2000 hit points, which you can tank on top of what you're already doing anyways. So this is quite helpful for sure. But let's talk about a couple of interactions. First one, if your hero dies, this means then that the pet is unleashed and is flying everywhere and is actually then dealing damage. And it's quite solid damage, 450 DPS and having nearly 5000 hit points. That's really solid, and it's only attacking defenses, so it's even better. The next thing though, don't make any mistakes, because this pet can as well go down and is get attacked. So this is something really important to make sure that you're keeping it safe. So first off, you're having the spawn of the tanks and you don't lose it too early, which means it's a really good combination with the Warden, and I think as well a really solid pet for Warden walks, because finally we have a pet which is not going down right away, like the Owl, like the Lizard, like Diggy, or any other pet which you typically combine with the Warden. Finally the Warden is not going down anymore that quick, or like the pet with the Warden is not going down that quick anymore, and you have even tanks which are getting spawned. So overall, really nice addition. Important note though, those spawn troops are like minions. They can tank red mines and trigger them, but no black mines. On top of that, we're going to get some new achievements which are working around the new merged defenses. The multi-archer tower, the merged cannon, or the multi-gear tower, all of them are going to get now achievements where you can claim some more gems, which is nice to have, and to be honest, should have been in the game already for quite some time, but maybe they just waited to have all of the current planned merged towers in the game, who knows. Well, let's just take a look at some example attacks which we can do with the new stuff. And the first obvious one, no big surprise, is just air spam with the new pet. And I'm wondering, how would you use the pet on which hero? Because you have the option of using it on the Warden, first option, or for example on the Minion Prince. It really depends here. If you want to utilize the pet overall, that is getting untouched from the hero, but for that the hero has to die. At the same time, you don't want to have the Warden dying, or you don't really want to have the Minion Prince going down. So overall, not really sure what the hero is you should combine it with, but for me right now, what works the best is with the Warden. Because as I said, every 10 seconds you're spawning a troop which is having 2000 hit points. That is a lot. It can't tank, it can't trigger black mines, but as I said earlier, red mines, for example, works, and 2000 hit points every 10 seconds is quite solid. I like to run, obviously, with the Archer Queen, these barracks to have some tanking, so make sure that we can add the Royal Champion instead of using the King in this strategy. And otherwise, this base is completely done. But you might see as well that with the additional level, you can feel them for sure on the defending side. This is not like the craziest of all overkills, which is really important. Make sure that you're not getting fooled by, oh, back in the days with the new army camp level, the game became way easier. This is not the case anymore. The game is structured around the heroes, and 20 more housing space is not as big of a deal, because that was my first reaction. Oh my gosh, the game is going to be broken, it's way too easy, everything. But as I said earlier, in my opinion, with all of those changes, the game even became a little, like a tiny little bit harder. But mostly overall, it's kind of stayed the same, with a really little tiny touch towards a little bit harder meta overall, if you're taking fully maxed out bases. But let's talk about the next strategy, and that is the Yeti, the Hog Rider level, the Ice Golem level, all combined in one strategy. And that is my super Hog Rider strategy. It is just so good because it pretty much has received on every single power of the strategy a new level. We have overall the 2 Yetis for the funnel. In between, we have the King and Queen, and as well the Ice Golem with the Log Launcher as a hero dive. We're trying to get as much value as possible. The Gauntlet on this one is a game changer. It's making the King super tanky. The Queen can deal all the damage she needs. You can combine it with the Rage Gem. You can combine it as well with the Spiky Ball if you want to. But the key here is that you don't wait for too long. Just get ready with the Hogs, send them in, and have some fun. Because the more tanky Super Hog Riders are no joke. You can get through a lot of damage. Yes, they will receive as well still quite some damage, especially versus multi-inferno towers. But you can as well combine them for cores with a Warden ability and a Rage spell, and they will just wreck bases left and right. It's super, super strong, and I can just recommend you this strategy. It's a lot of fun on top of that because, well, who doesn't like to send in Super Hog Riders, right? So overall, we have a lot of things which are going to happen with the update. I'm super looking forward to overall the meta and everything. But I'm just happy right now as well that we won't see a Root Rider level. So that is just something positive. Which means we have discussed today all of the new level which are going to be in the next update. And that was just the first sneak peek. And you should make sure that you're coming back tomorrow for as well more new stuff. And let me know, how would you use the new things in this update? Which means the new pet. Would you agree that on ward walks it should be quite successful? Would you agree air spam as well, getting some more love? And as well, how would you use all of the new troop level? Did I miss something? I would love to hear your opinion. Put them down in the comments so I can make sure that I can read them, and as well maybe highlight some of them in the future videos with like your ideas and your strategies. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys back tomorrow with the next class video. Until then, see ya and bye bye.